What's up, everybody? My name is Benny, and you are now in the Chop Shop. Well, it officially happened. Been waiting for it. Been doing this now since the beginning of the year. And I'm like, you know what? One of these days, I'm going to have a equipment gear malfunction where I record a whole episode and then I go back to start editing and realize that something was off and wrong. And of course, it happened on this episode. So I recorded the whole episode, and which thankfully it wasn't a long one, so I didn't have to spend an hour or anything, but recording it. But I went back and I'm like, why is the audio so choppy? It literally sounded like I was, it was weird. Like my audio was coming in and out, and I realized that one of the wires that goes into the mic and then to the camera wasn't plugged in correctly, so it wasn't picking up very well. Anyway, so here I am, take 2. All right. Listen, guys, just want to say thank you so much for watching and liking, commenting, sharing, just supporting the podcast. And I really am happy and excited about the last 2 episodes, talking with Miko and talking with Rob. And, I shared the first take, and it's going to probably sound a lot better than this, but I do want to share this with you, is that my hope is that you would just be encouraged with these stories of these guys. And I know, because I've seen the numbers, the demographic on this, it's not just guys, girls are watching too, which, ladies, thank you so much for tuning in and supporting as well. And the cool thing about these 2 stories, Rob and Miko, is it doesn't matter if you're a guy or girl. In fact, it doesn't even matter if you grew up where they grew up, like Stockton or Roseland. It doesn't matter. Their stories, they cross over. They connect with whoever from wherever, because these are stories that you hear everywhere. And so my hope is that you would just be encouraged, that you'd be encouraged to know that you're not the only one who experienced that you in Jesus can overcome and live a life that is full and blessed in the way that these 2 guys are. And then also to hear the way that God works with different people in different places, in different situations. It was such an honor to have those guys on. And Rob, Miko, thank you guys so much for taking your time, taking time out of the week. And those were 2 longer episodes. So these guys had to set aside a couple hours, if not more, of their time to do it. So guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. And hopefully we'll have you guys back on real soon, because these guys have tons of stories. And even just talking with Miko afterwards, he's like, oh man, I have so many stories. I'm like, dude, let's do a part 2 soon. Let's get together and connect and keep talking, because I think it's great. I think it's good for people to hear these stories. It blesses other people. So I didn't want to make this episode too long, and I'm doing a solo podcast. It's been a while since I've done that, huh? Feels like it, at least probably maybe a month or so, maybe more. But I wanted to come on and just kind of, again, the intention of this podcast is to encourage you. It's to speak life into you, to, and this kind of goes into what I'm about to say, but, social media, sometimes there's content on there that makes us laugh. There's content on there that just brings hope to our lives and puts a smile on our face. In fact, one of my favorite Instagram accounts, I don't know if it's on TikTok, but Instagram it is the Create Dope Humans account on Instagram. I love that account. All the awesome random acts of kindness that people are doing for each other, and you see interactions between parents and their kids, or people with complete strangers. I love stuff like that. I'm a softie for stuff like that. I enjoy just seeing people just do good things like that. But unfortunately, majority of social media is really about bashing other people. It's about making you feel a certain type of way, whether it's anger or sadness towards a particular topic, particular type of person, particular side of politics or a particular side of beliefs. Really, social media is like, even though it was intended to kind of bring us together, has now become this place where everything is segregated into sections. So if you are this and this, you're over there. If you are this and this, you're over here. If you believe in that, then you're over there. But if you voted for this person, then you're over here. Like, it's become this segregated thing, and everyone, in a way, is just kind of like trying to get you, the viewer, to believe that that side over there is wrong and that this side over here is right. Now, in a way, I mean, somebody can watch this and go, well, Benny, isn't that what you're trying to do too? You're trying to tell people that your message or your faith is right and the other side is wrong. And my answer to that is, yeah, in a way. But I'm not geared or aiming at people. I'm geared, or I'm aiming at ideas, at philosophies that are just wrong, at, and trying to point back. But the thing is, like, I'm not pointing back at myself like, hey guys, I got all the answers here. Like, I'm pointing back to the one who has all the answers. I'm pointing back to who I have my faith, my hope, my trust in, and that is Jesus. And so what I wanted to kind of share about was like this recent trend. And it's not like maybe it is like a trend that you've noticed too, but there are these videos, and they're usually like got some like sad music, kind of like these dramatic narrations of what somebody goes through. Now, let me say this. I believe 100% that mental illness is a real thing. I take it very seriously. I take it very seriously. There's nothing to joke about there. So me saying this has nothing to do with talking against mental illness. Okay, this is more a manipulation of our emotions using the subject of mental illness or of stress and anxiety, things like that. Okay. So these videos will, and I've seen them for both guys and girls. So I'll just speak for the ones I've seen for guys, that like, video will come on, sad, dramatic, emotional music in the background. You'll see video of a man and a narration voice on top of it. And you'll see this guy like, doing stuff at home and just like looking overly stressed, or, going to work and feeling dejected and separated, right? And this voice is telling you the whole time that a man, they have to work full time, but they also have to be there for their family. But then they also need to have the right people, the right friends in their life to like pour into them. But then they also, and it's this idea of this man being pulled in different directions to the point of it's too much weight. There's no way that this man could have a quote unquote healthy life. And the idea is for you, the viewer, whether you're a guy or a girl. Well, if you're a girl, the idea is for you to feel bad for the guy. If you're a guy and you're in that situation, right? Like if the video is about a single guy who has to deal with school and work and all, if you're in that, then the idea is for you to feel bad for yourself or for you to feel bad for somebody else. Now, I believe in empathy. I believe in being able to feel those pains, those struggles with somebody else. But I also feel there's a bit of like insincerity in these videos. I feel like there's also kind of like a manipulation, a skewing of your emotion to believe 100% what they're saying. And what I mean by that is this, is like, when you feel bad for yourself, when you feel like that self-pity of like, my situation is like the worst situation and there's no hope. It's always going to be like this. I'm always going to feel this stress, this pain, this struggle, this anxiety, this weakness, this weight on my life. I'm always going to feel this. It goes beyond just like speaking negatively about yourself, but what you're doing is you're completely disregarding God's oversight, involvement in your life. Hear me out. And this is for you, even if you don't believe in Jesus, even if you think there is no God. I think all of us have experienced and have seen God's mercy, His grace, His favor in our lives, in and around our lives, regardless of what you believe. I believe that. It's true. It's so true. The weather, the sunshine, the rain, the cool, the warm, the things that we need to survive, the oxygen. Like all of those things is from God, right? Like those things are here on this earth and were placed by God in order for us to like not only survive but thrive here on earth and be able to function and be able to get things done and do things. All of us who are able to work. You can't tell me that that's not God. Like God gave you the ability to work. Even people who don't have the function of all their limbs are still able to work. They're still able to find things to do, to work, to make money, to provide, to bring money home and provide for their families. They're still able to do these things. God's blessing, God's provision, God's favor, like regardless of what you believe, we've all seen it in and around our lives. Now, if you want to argue about that, then you can hit me up, message me on Instagram, and we can talk about it. But so we've all seen it. So when we all of a sudden say, you know what, my situation's worse. There's no hope. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. I'm done. It's always going to be like this. I'm always going to be a screw up. I'm always going to be feeling this stress, this anxiety. You're disregarding God's involvement in your life. You're saying, God, what you've done in my life to this point didn't change anything. It doesn't change anything. Now, the flip side of that, those of us who we believe in Jesus, we've had a relationship. We're in a relationship with Christ. We're serving the Lord. We're looking. We're reading our Word. We're trying to become more like Him. We know that even when life gets hard, and yes, for believers, for Christians, for people who believe in Jesus, life still is hard. We experience pain. We experience loss, the loss of loved ones unexpectedly. Like we experience all those things. The pain of losing jobs, the pain of losing things, the pain of broken relationships, the pain of abuse, the pain of financial hardship. We still experience all these things. It still happens. Even if we believe in Jesus, this is not believe in Jesus and all world's problems go away. But this is and for those of us who know, we know that even when we experience hardships and tough times, like there's still like a hope in us. There's still a strength. There's still like an ability to like look life in the face and still smile. And even if you have nothing to smile about, you still do, because you know that God's with you. Because you know that God didn't leave you. He didn't leave you alone. God's still with you. If anything, you're like, shoot, I'm so glad God's with me right now, because if He wasn't, this would suck a whole lot more. But He is with me, so I got hope. I got faith. I got strength. I got joy. I got peace, even in the midst of all this stuff going around me. Now, I'm like talking about these videos that I've seen because it's kind of like, now I'm into the motivational, like, hey man, even if you're going through a tough time, like you can pull yourself up, you can keep moving forward. Cool, great stuff. But there's other stuff where it's just like, he's a dad and he's a husband and he's got to work full time. How does he provide for the family that he has at home when he has to be at home and spend as much time with his kids? Like, how does he feel that tension? Come on in. As my wife comes in. Come on in. She just came back from the gym. Good job, babe. Super proud of you. So like, how these videos that explain like, well, they got to deal with all these things, and you need to feel bad for them because their situation is the worst, when in reality it's like, well, hang on a second, let's look at that same man who is a dad and works and is feeling all these tensions. Those are all decisions that he made. Like, he said yes to that particular job. He said yes to getting married. He said yes to having kids. Like, this isn't a situation that he didn't know was going to happen. This isn't a situation that, at least I hope this is not a situation that he didn't think about. I mean, for us who have been married for a while and have kids, like, I think we've all kind of gone through a season where it's like, I'm not making enough money. Like, I got to find another job, or I got to do something. Like, we've all felt that desperation. So like, all those circumstances are by that person's decision or decisions, so, and that's why I wanted to kind of encourage you. I wanted to encourage you that if you see those videos, like, I think that you need to be careful, because they try to, again, skew, manipulate your emotion to feel bad for yourself, to feel bad for somebody else, to feel bad for other people. Like, and as me, as a believer, someone who believes in Jesus, like, I don't think that that's right. I don't think that's cool. I don't think that that's necessary. Like, for me, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I work, I serve at church and ministry. I feel the tension of, man, I got to be here at home with my wife and my kids, but at the same time, like, I got a full-time job, and on top of that, like, I feel like a calling to ministry. I feel like God has called me to ministry, and I got to serve at my church. And on top of that, like, here are these guys that I've really fallen in love with. These are my brothers. Like, I want to do life with these guys, so I want to go and spend time with them. Like, I feel these tensions too. I could sit here and go, man, my life, I'm in a situation where I'm always stressed, always filled with anxiety, and I will never be able to come out of that. And I completely missed the fact, like, hang on a second. Like, God's given me a great job that I can provide for the family that he has given me, for the wife that I have that he has given me. And that I go to a great church that gives me the opportunity to serve in the ministry. And that I have amazing people around me that I want to spend time with outside. That's a blessing. That is God's favor. That is God's provision. So these aren't curses on my life. These are blessings on my life. What the curse is my perspective. The curse is my self-pity. It's me feeling bad for myself, or me speaking curses on myself, saying I'm always going to feel this way. I'm always going to be stressed. I'm always going to be filled with anxiety. Now, my situation is not a horrible situation. There's people out there that are dealing with real life hardships, situations where they're broken relationships, no money, going from place to place. There's no stability in their life. What about them, Benny? Like, shouldn't we feel bad for them? You can have it. You can have empathy. You can have a heart and say, man, they're really going through it. But the last thing that somebody like that needs to hear is, man, your life, it sucks. It's hard. I don't know if I don't see a light at the end of this tunnel, man. I don't know. I don't know how you're going to come out of this. I don't know how you fix it. No. They don't need to hear that. They don't need to go on social media and look at a video that basically tells them everything they already know, and at the end say, kind of insinuate like, this is the way it's going to be forever. Like, no, man, they need life. They need words of life. They need encouragement. They need something supernatural to kind of come into their life and give them a new, fresh perspective on life. This is why I'm doing this. I want to share. I want to encourage you. I want to give you words of life. I want to give you the hope that in Jesus, like, you can receive a whole new, fresh perspective, that you can receive a whole new heart, a whole new mind, a whole new look on life. That in Jesus, like, all of this is true. All of this happens. I'll leave you with this. life is hard. It can be lonely. Even if you're married and have kids, it can be so lonely. But I think in those moments, it's about how you respond. Do you respond that lonely feeling you get by actually separating yourself and you go and you're alone? Or do you get close to those who know you, who love you, who you do life with when you're alone? Because that there to me is the life, is it's the difference between life and death, darkness and light. It's the how you respond to that feeling. And that's the thing, is like our feelings, we give our feelings a little too much authority in our lives. We allow our feelings to make decisions for us rather than using the mind that we have, the wisdom, the discernment we have to make decisions despite our feelings. Well, I feel alone, so I'm alone. You know, I feel stressed out, and so I'm going to be stressed because there's no way to overcome this. Like, you're going to feel stressed. You're going to feel alone. You're going to feel mad, angry, upset. You're going to feel those things, sad. You're going to feel those things. Those are real emotions. But what happens when we grab our emotions and we compare them to what God says about our situation, what God says about us, what God says about himself? Because when I grab my feeling of being alone and I compare it to the scripture where the Lord's telling me that he's always going to be with me, that he'll never forsake me, that he'll never leave me. Well, hang on a second. I feel alone, but you know, like God's telling me in his word, like, that he'll never leave me. So which is true? I feel alone. I'm not saying that's not true, but am I alone? Well, no. God's telling me I'm not. God's telling me that he's with me. So we need to like kind of put our emotions in check. Guys and girls, like, don't do the self-pity thing. If you need help, reach out. Reach out to the people who know you. Reach out to your circle, your friends, the people you do life with. Ask for the support. Ask for the help. Ask for the prayer. Ask for the advice. Or, hey, like, you know, hey, so-and-so, like, can I just vent to you for like 5 minutes? I just need to get this out. You know? But don't fall into a hole that you're digging yourself. When we kind of do this self-pity thing and this like almost like we're cursing ourselves, we're damning ourselves, like we're the ones with the shovel digging the grave that we're putting ourselves into. No one else is doing it. It's us. But if you lean on Jesus, if you trust in him, if your faith is in him, he's only going to give you the strength to get through those things. Again, the perspective, the posture. When you go through those dark times, and you will, everybody will, it's not going to be about focusing on myself and how bad you should feel for me, how bad I have it. Oh my gosh, my life is just, it's always a mess. Poor me, poor me. No. Instead, it's going to be like, God, you're still good. You're still with me. You help me. You encourage me. You push me forward. You give me the words that I need to make it another day. You give me the grace. You give me the favor. You give me the ability to work, the ability to make decisions, the ability to like have people to lean on. God, you're still with me. You're going to give me what I need to make it today. And all of a sudden, when you start leaning on Jesus, it's like a joy that comes out of your life. It's like a heart, a joy that comes out of your life. It's a peace that's beyond all understanding. It doesn't make sense. A peace that shouldn't be there in that situation, but it is because it's coming from something that doesn't move and doesn't change. It's always the same. Even if your life is changing and moving and and chaotic, there's a anchor, there's a stone that you can stand on, a foundation that you can stand on, that won't move, that won't shake, regardless of what life throws at you. And that's Jesus. If you want to know more, if you want to talk, guys, hit me up on Instagram. Just private message me or comment here on the video. Let me know, and I love interacting with you. And but you're always available to message me on Instagram if you have any questions or need prayer. Like I want to encourage you any way I can. But guys, like I just want to encourage you. Like there's so much life that Jesus brings into our life. So much hope, a fresh mind, a fresh view of life that is so life-giving that you don't have to live in self-pity. You don't have to live like you're trying to you're trying to strive, like you're trying to survive. I'm trying to survive. I'm just trying to make it. No, it doesn't have to be like that. Like God didn't intend it to be like that. Like everything that we need is found in Him. And we can make it through if we're in Him. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode. We'll be back with some more guests. Just wanted to kind of throw it back, do a little solo pod, and encourage you a little bit today, and just some things I've been seeing. And I wanted to kind of like put this out there too, because I've seen the videos on there, and I'm sure you have as well. And some of them are good. Again, some of them are like, yeah, okay, because there's an encouragement of like, hey, like it doesn't have to be like this. It's gonna be okay. Like there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, all right, but some of them just, man, they're really dark. It's like, what are you trying to convey to people who are struggling? Like somebody who is dealing with a mental health crisis at the moment, watching something like that is just not good. Like you're not. There's no life. And I just want to be here to tell you that there is life. It's found in Jesus. There's hope, and it's found in Jesus. Regardless of where you find yourself today, it's found in Jesus. And if you want to talk more, again, reach out to me. I'd love to. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Leave a comment on the video below. Make sure you like, subscribe the episode, the video. I appreciate all your guys' support. I'll see you guys very soon. Until next time, peace out.